Hi there, welcome to Chapter 2, Section 5, which is where we are, and I'm going to tell you right up front that this is a doozy of a lesson. It's not going to be easy for you, and you're going to need to be stopping the video, thinking about it, and there's probably several of these questions you'll have to go back through a couple of times to get it. We're going to spend a couple days on it, and you'll have to do that, or you're just going to really be frustrated and feel lost. Uh, through the lesson. So if you have not done this, go ahead and fill out your name, hour, and the date. And you should have this note template in front of you. If you don't have it, you can print it off on my website, or you can print off some blank ones and just write in the words that we have there. But let's just jump right into things here. We have a vocabulary word, literal equation here. Basically, a literal equation is I'm going to write the definition over here. It's an equation that has two or more variables. Okay, that's the definition of a literal equation. An example of a literal equation, it could be all kinds of things really, but one example might be just something that doesn't really mean anything, but it's just an equation like ax plus bx equals c. That's an equation. That's a literal equation. That's what that is. Or you could have something maybe that you know, such as a equals pi r squared. And you know, hopefully you know that that means the area of a circle. So that's a formula. Okay, so it can be either one of those kind of a things. That's why we call it literal equations and formulas there. So that's what we're dealing with. And the reason that this is so hard, we're now going to be doing all of our math with letters, or most of it with letters and not as many numbers, because you might be asked to solve like for that x in the first one, or you might be asked to solve for that r, right there in that second example. And I'm going to tell you right now, the only way to do this is just to do it and practice it and go back and review it. Like I said, we're going to spend 2 days in class working on this after you go through these notes. So please take very careful notes here. Get everything down, everything, and go back through it as you go, or you really will get frustrated if you don't know, because it's going to look very different from probably what you're used to. So let's look at this example. First example here, solve this problem for L. Well, this is a perimeter formula for rectangles, 2L plus 2W. And oftentimes they write that L as a kind of a cursive L there. So I will do that as well. Copy that question in here. And over here we'll be trying to explain what it is that we're doing to solve the problem. Well, the first thing that you always want to do, any literal equation like this, is to identify what you're solving for. Okay, you'll always do that first. Identify what I'll just say what you want. Okay, well, they told us right here that we want to solve that for the L. So what I sometimes have people do, and I really don't care if you do this or not, I would recommend it, at least to start with. Some people will actually circle. That's what we want. All right, so identify what you want. Would you add the word isolate? And you might put that in large letters. Whatever it is you want to isolate it. That's the whole game here. Okay, so in this particular problem, P equals 2L plus 2W, you need to get L all by itself and see what L is equal to. Now, to do that, we have to follow all of the rules of solving an equation that we've been working on. We're going to be doing the exact same things, but this time it's just going to be some letters, and it's going to look weird because we're not going to have L equals a number. We're going to have L equals a crazy looking formula for us. So if I look at this equation closely, this kind of looks like a two-step equation, because here's L, something is being added to L, and something is being multiplied by L. So if I were solving this, if this were a two-step equation, pretend for a second that instead of 2W you just had 2L plus 10. ask yourself, what would you do? You would subtract that number there. So that's what we're going to do. What we're going to do here is we're going to subtract, or you can think of add negative, subtract 2w. Now, you have to do that to both sides. So take a look at it carefully and see if you can see how that equation kind of resembles a two-step equation. And that's what you have to learn to do, is to learn to look at how we would solve to isolate this variable and keep it balanced. And we do the exact same thing that we would do here. So I bring down my equal sign. So on my left-hand side, what I have now is I have p minus 2w. Now you can't do anything with that because they're not the same term. Okay, it's p minus 2w. That's all you can do to that side. But this side, we've crossed that out because 2w minus 2w is 0. So we have now that that is equal to 2l. Okay, now take a look at what we have here. Well, just imagine for a minute p minus 2w was some number. Again, I'll say 10. If you had 10 equals 2l, what would you do? You would divide this by 2 to isolate the L. So you have to divide both sides by 2. All right, so let's make a note. Divide both by 2. And if I do that, there it is. See that right there? 2 divided by 2, there's your 1. That's 1L, which we'll just write as L, is equal to, there's nothing I can do on my left side. P minus 2W divided by 2. You cannot divide that 2 and 2. You could only do that if there was a factor of 2 in front of the p. A coefficient of p was a factor, or I'm sorry, a multiple of 2. So you end up with p minus 2w divided by 2. Now look what we've done. We've isolated L. That's the whole game, is to figure out how can I isolate that variable completely and have the other side as simplified as is possible, and that's all we can do. Again, the only way to get through these is to just do them and keep doing them and keep doing them. Okay, I'm only at about 7.5 minutes, but these, what I'll probably have to do here is make several videos, and I might just have 1 or 2 problems per video because they take so long to do. So I'm going to stop this one, get it ready to go, and then we will continue on the next page of your notes here in a moment.